Most people, this is probably going to be the biggest video or one of the most important videos that I have made or will make, and it's probably going to be one of the most important videos you guys have ever watched. Now, this video is on what is the problem? What is the problem with life? What is the problem with society? What is the problem that is occurring? Right. The first problem is that life feels harder. It feels harder to survive each year. Like every year, you somehow feel like you're struggling just a little bit more, barely noticeable, but just a little bit more every single year. The second thing that I'm sure even people in my generation have realized and noticed is that everyday costs have gone up. Food, energy, fuel, all of these things, they've gone up. Third thing that I think people of my generation won't have sort of clocked on because we haven't yet fully gone through full employment, but um, stagnant wage growth. So if you speak to your parents about this, I'm sure your parents will agree with me in saying that their wages haven't matched the rising costs of everyday goods. Now, the fourth one, population decline. I think it's quite clear or clearly seen in demographic charts that there are just less babies being born. The fifth one would be marriage decline. I think there's definitely been a decrease in marriages alone, and then there's been an increase in divorces as well. And the last one would be there are just generally feels like there are less jobs around, and the jobs that are around are far more competitive than they used to be. Now, this is a lot to do with COVID. COVID had a big part in that. Obviously, people that were coming out of uni couldn't go into employment, so they were sitting around. And then people that come out of uni when COVID finished are all looking for employment. So all of these people are looking for employment at the same time, like 3 years of people are looking for employment all at the same time, so it's crunched the job market. Now, swiftly moving on to what is money. This is key to understanding the points that I will make here. So, money is literally all it is in simple terms is stored energy. You spend time, i.e., energy, and you get rewarded in pounds, in dollars, in yen, in euros, whatever it is, you get rewarded in money. Now, these are the characteristics of money. So they can be used as a medium of exchange, i.e., you have something, I want to buy it, I give you X and you give me Y, and each party is happy. It's a unit of account. So, you can have $1, $2, $3, $10, $1,000. There's a unit there. Everyone can see that that's how much it is. Store value, so $1 in 10 years' time can still buy you $1 worth of what you could 10 years ago. Scarcity, i.e., it has a very limited amount of it on the planet, and it's very hard for there to be more of it, or it's a very slow process for more to be created. Divisibility, i.e., you can have $1 and you can split it into, or you have $10 and you can split it into 10 $1 bills. Divisibility. Durability, i.e., does it like actually degrade? So physical cash over time will degrade, like cash, isn't it? Paper, it will degrade. Oh, okay. Running low on battery, people. Let's just plug that in before that an issue. Bear with me. There we go. Portability. Can you carry it around, basically? Is it portable? Fungibility. Can you transact, and is the history of transactions there? Censorship resistance. Can a authoritarian establishment or can an authority have control over that thing? The trust requirement. Do people trust where the money has come from? Inflation resistance, i.e., does inflation factor in to the value of the money. Settlement speed, i.e., how quickly can you send money? That's pretty much that. That's pretty simple stuff. And transparency, i.e., can you see how this is created, why it is, etc., etc. Just transparency. Everyone knows what it is. Everyone can see why it is. Everyone can, transparency. Everyone knows what that means. Now, the money that we use currently, pounds, dollars, yen, euro, Swiss franc, all of these things, they are called fiat currencies. Now, fiat, you can just ignore the word, but it is very key in terms of where I'm going to with this. But we're just going to call it currency for now. We're just going to call it a currency. Now, fiat currencies has all but, and this is key, it is not a store of value. It is not censorship resistant. It does not, well, it does have a trust requirement, but it requires trust in a government or in a bank. Inflation resistance doesn't have that, as we can see in the rising costs of everyday goods. And transparency, this is key. It's particularly opaque because all the records are centralized, i.e., an authority has the records, very hard to actually see the records. Now, swiftly moving on. Who controls your money? Now, your money is normally stored in or controlled in 3 different ways. So you can have money in a bank. So the bank will control your money. You can have it in a bank account. You can have it in a savings account, or you can have it in a pension. The government controls your money through taxes. And investment firms. If you have an investment account, if you have a lifetime ISA, if you have a trading 212 account, all of these sort of things, you're investing your money somewhere. The investment firms then control that money, because as soon as you give money to, let's say, a bank and you deposit money into a bank account, that money is technically, by law, no longer yours to control, to own, basically. You don't own that money. You're giving the money to a bank. The bank will then loan your money out to lots and lots of different people, and that's how they earn money. They loan. They're getting money from loads of different places, and they just loan it out to make more money from it. Of course, you can transact with it. You can, pull some out of the bank, etc., etc. But it isn't actually yours by law. I mean, it is yours as soon as you earn it, but then as soon as you put it into these places, not yours. Right? Now, I just want to let you get thinking here. Just imagine, purely hypothetical, if everyone in the UK, so let's call it 70 million people, all at once or in a space of 24 hours decided that they wanted to pull all of their money out of their bank account into cash. What do you think would happen? Well, I'll tell you probably what would happen. The banks would collapse. Why? Because they don't actually have your money. Now, they own your money, but they've lent it out to so many different people in so many different places all around the world that if everyone all at once wanted their money in cash, they wouldn't be able to retract it all back to where they've lent it out to in that space of time. And they would go into crisis mode. Now, swiftly, how do you use money? There's normally 3 different ways of using money. Necessary purchases, i.e. food. You need to eat food to survive. Water, you need to drink water to survive. And energy, you need fuel for your car, you need fuel to cook. That's generally the necessary purchases. Like the necessary purchases. If you didn't make these purchases, you would probably not be living on the planet. Now, unnecessary purchases. Takeaways, everyone loves takeaway. Luxury goods, buying a nice handbag or buying a nice car. And then excess clothes and shoes. Obviously, you need to wear clothes and you need to have shoes, but technically, you only need 1 pair of shoes, and technically, you only need 1 or 2 different outfits as such. Anything more than that would be an excess. Yes, of course, it may be necessary in your opinion, but it isn't technically necessary. It's just an excess purchase. And then you have investing. You can have different, risks. You can have you have safe amounts of risk, like a lifetime ISA. You can have moderate risk, like investing in the stock market, and then you can have high risks, like meme coins, etc. I'm sure you've heard of meme coins and all of those kind of things. Now, why is there a problem? This is the key bit. This is what I want you to listen into. This is the most important bit because I'm going to break it down in an analogy that has helped other people who I've spoken to who didn't understand it before understand it now. So there are 4 reasons why there's a problem. There is a leak, and I'll get to this. There is a leak, there is a big red button, there is human nature, and there is power. Now, this is the analogy. Imagine money, your money, as water, and your bank account as a water bottle. Now, as we have established, money is stored energy. So your bank account is the water bottle, it's the store of energy, and water is the time or your energy spent getting it. And obviously, you are rewarded in water. Now, what happens is when you earn water, let's say you turn the tap on. Let's say time and energy is a tap. You turn the tap on and water is flowing out. Water is flowing into the water bottle. Now, at a certain point, the water bottle is full. It's full. And so it starts overflowing. And let's just say you have a bucket. So you have the water bottle inside the bucket. And so when it starts overflowing the bottle, it falls into the bucket. Now, this is what I want to get onto because this is seriously, seriously key. The leak. The leak, the leak, the leak. There is a leak in your water bottle, in your bank account. And it isn't from you making stupid purchases that you know you probably shouldn't be making. It is because there is a big red button. Now, this button can be pressed in times of crisis. So, in 2008, in 2019, 2020 with COVID, the big red button was pressed. And what happens when the big red button is pressed? Your water from your tap, plus everyone else in the world, starts flowing extremely. Now, that's not you earning money, right? This tap that gets pretty much just splattered, this big red button splashes the tap, okay? And water starts flowing out in streams and billions and billions and billions of gallons, let's say, not pounds or dollars, gallons, starts flowing out of this tap into the world. So what happens is you have the bucket full of water, but then the bucket starts overflowing because there's so much money. There's so much money flowing around. Now, just simple economics. When there's increased supply, price falls. Okay? So what happens when the big red button is pressed and more water, more money starts flowing around in the system? Well, the store of value goes down, i.e., that water is worth less. So that is the leak. Now, I want to talk about human nature and power here because the big red button doesn't get pressed by your average Joe. It gets pressed by the chair of the Federal Reserve. Now, the Federal Reserve is the central bank of America. Now, what the big red button does is it just prints money. Literally out of thin air, just created. Just created. Out of thin air. It has no, it doesn't get pulled from the ground, just gets spawned. Just gets spawned, that's all it is. And so, every year, as a result of this big red button being pressed, you can buy less with your money. I.e., let's say £1 buys you a Freddo in 2010. Let's just say this. £1 buys you a Freddo in 2010. In 10 years' time, the cost of a Freddo may have gone to £2. So 100% increase. Obviously, that is a lot, but totally realistic. That has gone up 100% in 10 years, all because there's been an increase in money supply, and so the purchasing power of your money has gone down. So yes, there still may be the same amount of liquid in your water bottle, but when you drink the water, less comes out. Less comes out because it doesn't buy as much. Okay? And so the key issue here is the ability to press the big red button whenever the fuck you want, because the person in power has the authority to do so. And I think it's key to really understand that we are not in control of this. I am not in control of this. We are all just a pawn in the system. That is all it is. We're just a number in the system. And you have the kings and queens in the system that have the power to press the big red button whenever the fuck they want. Okay? Now, as soon as they press that big red button, they increase the size of the problems. So life feels harder. There's higher costs. There's higher costs. Why? Because purchasing power goes down. So you can actually buy less with what you have. The stagnant wage growth. This is key because as your purchasing power goes down and you're not earning more money, it doesn't match. Okay? So if your wage stays the same, but how much you can buy goes down, then you're going to feel poorer. That's just it. You're going to feel poorer. Wage growth has not matched inflation, i.e., the rising cost of goods, for a long time. And this has led to lots of different reasons. So, lots of different things, okay? Now, because people feel poorer, marriages have gone down. People are having babies less because it's more expensive. That's causing all of these problems. So, I want people to understand that the cause of most of your problems in life is because of the big red button. You feel poorer, the big red button. There aren't as many babies being born, the big red button. Everything comes down to this big red button. The fact that someone can press this thing and there is more money in the system, your purchasing power goes down and you feel poorer. And that's why I think it's incredibly key to understand that you need to invest your money. Like, it is a necessity now. Because as I've highlighted, wage growth is stagnant. It's just going sideways. Purchasing power is going down. So it's going like this. It's just purchasing power going down, but wage growth going sideways. And so if you aren't finding a way for your pound amount in your bank account to grow, you are going to be poorer year after year after year. And of course, no one teaches you this, of course, because the system wants to keep it that way. Why do you think literally ask yourself a question? Why do you think no one is taught financial literacy in secondary school or sixth form? Why? Because they are training people to be employees, i.e., keep them in the system so that they just remain poor forever. Because the people in power don't want everyone to have lots and lots of money, because that then reduces how much power they have. So it's all about power, it's all about human nature, and this can be tracked over hundreds and hundreds of years. This time of human civilization isn't the exclusive. This has happened in the Roman Empire. This has happened in the British Empire. This has happened in the Dutch Empire, the Portuguese Empire, the Spanish Empire. Now, just for this era, we are in the United States Empire, and so this is happening. Okay, so inflation is the rising cost of goods, and currency debasement, i.e., the big red button, is the devaluation of the currency, the store of value. That's what it is. It's eroding the store of value. So inflation is the rising cost of good, and currency debasement is the depreciation of the value of the money. So the big red button, you press it. Inflation, pew! Currency debasement, pew! And they divert. So you feel poorer and things are getting more expensive. It's literally a lose-lose situation, and you're walking into the trap. Like, literally walking into the trap. So this video highlights that you need to be aware of the trap that you're walking into if you're not growing your money. Now, how much you need to grow your money per year just to stay not poor or get less poor? I'll answer that. In between 5 and 10%. Inflation is a very tricky one to measure because the metrics that the government give out aren't exactly truthful. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, they are true in the sense, but they don't account for currency debasement. They don't account for the bit where the store value of your money goes down. So yeah, inflation may be 2-3%, but how much you can buy goes down. So it isn't a real core measure of inflation, i.e. the rising cost of goods. So you need to be growing your money in between 5 and 10% each year. And this is the thing that I want to get onto. Because money is seen or sort of comes across as this big scary thing. And I promise you, it isn't. Money is not scary. It's only scary. Why? Because you weren't educated. If you understand something, you're going to feel less emotion about whatever it is. Sorry, that was just my alarm going off. But there are 2 or 3 things that you can do to get around this. And I'm not saying you've got to be some investment wizard who works at an investment firm just to be able to stay afloat. You don't. It's very simple. Very simple. Buy into the S&P 500, buy into Nasdaq 100, the stock market, basically. Nasdaq 100 is the top 100 tech companies in America. The S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in America. Buy into the index fund. It's just a fund that tracks the price of this stock market. Put your money in there. Every month you get a paycheck. Put a little bit in there. Put it in for 50 years and watch compound interest just do the rest of the work. Okay? Compound interest is a mathematical unicorn, guys. Mathematical unicorn. Go and do your own research. Dollar cost averaging into the S&P 500 calculation over 50 years. And just say you put in £100 a month, you'll be completely mesmerized by the number, I guarantee you. Okay, that's just £100 a month. That's nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the reason I'm making this video is because, one, people aren't educated on these things. Why? Because no one teaches you it unless you go out and learn it yourself. Second reason, I believe this information should be free. Why? Because it's designed, the system is designed to keep you poor. And so therefore, I think currency debasement or fiat currency as the system we currently live in is a scam. You hear trading gurus, you hear they're scams. This is scams. Like, this is a real world scam. Your money can buy less every year because of someone who you can't control pressing a button every time someone fucks something up in the economy. How unfair does that feel? Like, if you, like, that's like someone taking away your PlayStation and you don't have any control, or someone turning off the Wi-Fi every time there's too many people using the Wi-Fi. You can't control how many people are using the Wi-Fi, you know? And so to go back to the water bottle analogy, you have the water bottle, but it has a hole in it. It has a hole in the water bottle. So no matter how much money or how much water goes in that water bottle, the water is constantly going to be leaking out. If you hold your money in a bank account, you need to invest. It's not like I'll do it when I have a little bit of side money. It's like, no, that doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. You can't just pick and choose. You have to do it. It's not like I might do it. It's like you have to do it. Because if you don't, I hate to break it to you, and it's brutal, but you will probably remain poor for the rest of your entire life. Because let's say you never invest and you only put your money in a savings account. Okay? In 50 years' time, the costs of whatever you thought you were going to be buying have gone through the roof. They've gone way through the roof. And you can buy less. So, like, just don't be an idiot. Just go and invest in the S&P 500, Nasdaq 100. Buy a bit of gold, buy a bit of silver, buy some Bitcoin. Definitely buy some Bitcoin. That shit is perfect. That shit. I'm gonna make another video on Bitcoin because Bitcoin is pretty much the complete opposite of the system we currently live in. But buy some Bitcoin, buy some gold, the true forms of money, buy some silver, buy into the stock market, get a bit of like differentiate, like just spread your money in a few different places and just keep adding to it every month, every year until you die. And then you won't be poor. It's so simple. So simple. I appreciate you guys watching the video. This is definitely a key one. If you have got to the end of the video, drop a like, drop a sub. I'll appreciate it if you drop a comment telling me what you liked about the video, what you didn't like. If you liked the sort of visual aid, I know it was pretty basic, but I just sort of whipped it up in 5-10 minutes. Just sort of helps me talk through and not sidetrack. Although I did do that anyway. That's just my nature. I hope you guys have had a good week. And yeah, man, this is key. Like truly, truly key. If you don't understand this, drop a comment. Happy to explain more. But I think it's imperative that you guys know that you have to invest, otherwise you will remain poor. And who the hell wants to remain poor, you know? And for that, it is the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, drop a like, drop a comment, drop a sub. I appreciate and I do respond to every comment, etc. So yeah, have a good rest of your week, guys.